What's up, guys? Today's video I want to discuss silence and how you can use it to improve your communication. When I mean silence, or what I mean when I say silence, is the absence of noise. And this is not just sound, not audible noise, but the noise in your brain. Distractions, thoughts, all this noise that can happen when you're trying to communicate with somebody, when you're trying to have a conversation. What the absence of noise does is it gives us some benefits. It gives us some pluses that we can use to improve our communication. The first, I'm going to give 3 benefits, is it allows us to listen. Often, and you might have heard this before, is that people listen to reply versus listening to understand. And when we're thinking of our reply, that's the noise that's filling our brain. So we can't actually listen to what's being said and really try to understand what's intended to be meant by what's being said, or what's meant by what is said. What we also need is time to process. If we have noise in our heads, then we're not going to have the processing power available. It's your computer being overloaded with applications, or with you trying to do too much. And what we need to be able to do is process the information being sent our way, so that way we can accurately respond or effectively respond. Because what we tend to end up doing is reacting. And reacting is very impulsive. It's generally not useful. And it can be kind of malicious or misplaced when it's laced with emotions, which oftentimes our reactions can be, because they're not really well thought out and they're not controlled, right? They're the opposite of the things that I just said. And so by responding, we have the ability to show our understanding. We have the ability to show engagement, and we have the ability to show respect. And these things will influence our communications positively, much more positively than the standard way of communicating, which is generally just sending messages back and forth and really talking at each other, or communicating at one another, sending messages at one another, than really talking with one another and understanding both sides. So talk about how to use silence in your communications for better results, right? The first thing that I always tell people is to take your time. I think it is very common to get in a hurry when you're communicating, especially when you're talking with someone, when you're speaking with somebody, or especially if you're speaking in front of people. We want to rush it. It's important to make sure you take your time and that you're communicating the message that you want to send, and that you're understanding the information that they're trying to send your way. It's also important to take time to process it, which leads into the next point, which is very beneficial. It's to ask for greater clarity, ask for more details, ask for more information, ask for what's important. What is the important piece of information that I'm supposed to take away from this? Another benefit, or another good way to do that, is to ask, what do you need from me? What action do you need me to take? So hopefully it gets that information directly to the point to say, this is what you need to know. Because a lot of times we'll use way too many words. Sometimes I do that in my videos. Sometimes people do that in writing. And especially if we're basically informally presenting information, we oftentimes over-explain ourselves. Maybe that's just the neurodivergent in me, but I definitely do that at times. And then lastly, it's important to confirm understanding, right? I think there's nothing worse than if you're communicating with somebody and they say, yep, sounds good, got it. And then ultimately through their actions and their behaviors, it's clear that they didn't. It goes back to understanding the response, like actually responding to somebody. It shows that they didn't understand what I was trying to say, that they weren't engaged in the message I was trying to give them, and they really didn't respect my time or my wishes or what I was trying to convey and communicate. And so you can give this gift to people by responding, by taking the time to listen, and by leaving the space in your brain to accurately or more effectively process the information being sent your way. And what you can do, is communicate that back. Repeat that your understanding back, and basically seek that confirmation that yes, that's exactly what they were trying to get across to you. Or no, that wasn't quite it. That's not what I was trying to say. We shouldn't be uncomfortable about those interactions. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is communicate effectively. And I think there's no greater benefit than seeking that additional clarity, seeking that information. So what do you need me to do? What do you need me to understand from this message? This is what I'm getting. Is that what you mean? This is a supreme way to exhibit clarity, to make sure that you have a clear understanding of what they were trying to convey, and make sure you make the most effective use of the time and energy that you've used, ultimately leading to greater respect, greater understanding, just from taking the time to give them some space, to give them and use silence to improve your communication. I hope this helps. You can't lose if you don't quit.